Alright, welcome back everybody. I just wanted to go over a setup in real time. It's August 28th, Wednesday. Central Time, it's almost 12 noon, it's 11:54, and we had a bit of a sell-off in the morning. NQ, just about the whole market kind of moved lower, but I wanted to zoom in here and show you something in real time. So this setup in particular is something that I love to trade on days that we get momentum in either direction, but today is a downside direction. Also probably correlated to the anticipatory move of Nvidia. Post-market close, Nvidia is reporting today. So anyway, here we go. So market opened up around these levels up here at 19,600. First hour of trading, we had roughly a little dip, hit the bottom of this range down here, move back up, and I circled that point because it was a midline of a very choppy zone that this megaphone broadening wedge pattern has kind of formed. So all the way back from Monday, we've kind of just been ranging, break out of the range, and then rotate higher above the range here, and then this morning we're starting to break back down through the lower side of the megaphone where we did finally touch at the bottom, much lower than the prior touch. So we use that touch to make that a breakdown zone. So that level is important because if we get below it, I want to see a test of that and a rejection where we are currently at right now, 456. If we reject this, I would expect a break lower to roughly 300, but there's an imbalance down here from way back August 15th where we were blasting upwards. So I believe there's probably some data there. U.S. industrial production, retail sales month over month, and initial jobless claims. Yeah, that was a really good move that day. Upwards created an imbalance, which we are close to revisiting. So a lot of confluence and strategies here on my side. I had a fib that I created based on this range right here, based at the high, fib touch here, and bottom of the mid choppy zone here. Why did I do that? Let's go to the 1 hour. We see a couple wicks above the top of the range here, a retest. So this is the top of the range, and then we find where the bottom wicks are in this range, and we can see that on the far left side over here, left of this larger candle as well. So constant reactions to this level. So we use that as the 0 point and the 89 point. Initially, that indicates that I would be looking for extensions to the upside. However, it's the same extensions to the bottom side. So we just inverted that, just mentally in my head, I made a note. And since we didn't make any breaks to the upside and we started to sell, broke through this middle of the range, which I sort of thought we would do for power hour yesterday. We kind of did, kind of didn't. We broke down a little close to it, but ultimately, overnight, we made a London low and a London high. The London high was right at that top of that range. So any movement lower was essentially going to indicate that we were going to move down to the bottom of the megaphone pattern. We are now testing 460. So let's take a look at our top down 5-minute and 15-minute. You see here from the previous sell in the morning, nothing but red candles, nothing but red candles on the 15-minute up here at the top side of this view, all the way until our first green candle where I finished the imbalance. So we are now about to test that imbalance. The midline would be 465 and a quarter, which is right in line with the actual body candle closes of the breakdown zone. So if we wanted to move those there, which we have quite a few more actual closes and opens of these candles, so we'll just put that there. So the breakdown zone is in confluence with the imbalance midline. So I want to see that get tested, rejected, and move lower. Otherwise, sellers won't hammer this down. We start to see buyers kind of squeeze out sellers who might be timing this top, and we might see a V-shaped recovery and or at least a little bit more action to the upside where we can see a test of VWAP up at about 532. A lot to watch here, but basically if this plays out, I will capture it on screen and I will show you how I execute that trade. I've had quite a few other good trades so far where we played this short quite a bit. Very low position size, mostly 2 to 3 micros tops, but it's been a good day so far. This account is fairly new, and since the last video, which you can watch here, I did a little update on everything that's been going on and kind of lost all my profits through that last Friday, where I sort of went on tilt and lost a little bit more than I should have. Since then, as you can see at the top here, my personal daily loss limit is $250, and we are well above that on the positive side. So I'm just kind of waiting for my setups to show up. This one is cooking, and we are definitely waiting for it to confirm as a opportunity. If I do catch this on screen, and let you see how that trade goes. So moving back over to the 5K tick for a second, basically what I'm pointing out here with the circling of the middle of this range, price hit that and then immediately made that sell. So what I did was I grabbed the arrow tool, and we'll just redraw this. So grab the arrow tool and mark that top. We've found a bottom here. That's one move, right? So from here, we can take that measured move, look at the breakdown zone level, price test that and fails, we're essentially going to see a move lower. That should be the same measured move. For all intents and purposes, that's the point of a measured move. Trading off of those measured moves and seeing price test the prior breakdown zone where that measured move moved through, come up and test, fail, momentum should push us lower at the same rate that it did prior. So right now we are touching that midline of the imbalance. We also have a fib level, negative 89 fib at 474. There's a few levels here aside from VWAP, which is just in line with the negative 55 at 515, VWAP's at 522. A lot of levels here based on what price decides to do. If it continues up, I'll be watching those levels. I won't be timing tops. There's a chance that I might just call it a day and just not trade any longs, as the morning was a sell and kind of a choppy recovery so far. So if we get what we're looking for here, I will be shorting in this area, and we will see a measured move lower down to about 19,200 where that imbalance is. All right, so it's actually moving, and I haven't taken an entry yet. I'm still watching this EMA, and I'm also watching on the 5K tick. There's an EMA here, so just want to see a little bit more confirmation. We're bouncing off the top of the previous high here. It is reacting positively. Only thing left to do at this point is either bounce so I can get a entry, and then obviously continue lower, make a new low of day, but so far I've already missed this entry. So we'll just have to see what happens here. Did break through the 5-minute EMA, the 20 EMA. We are through this orange EMA on the 5K tick as well. Okay, so maybe that was a little flush, higher low. Gonna watch this, see if we get back to the imbalance midline around 465. All right, complete failure here would be pretty solid. You take this and see if we can get a little more momentum down. Putting break even there. I just don't want to take any losses on this, so trade probably goes without me now. If I can get a tiny bounce, I'll start to build into this position. I mean, that's something. I would kind of like to see like 440 or see a little higher for more scaling in on this. Any green is welcome. 1 micro, honestly, just fine with me if we go all the way. Right now, the take profit is set to just below the actual. It's at 172. So, I mean, even if we get this measured move all the way down to 227, that's over 700 ticks. I will scale in if we break new low, or I'll scale in just one more if we get back up to 440 or 450. Ultimately, I just want to see this trade work. Breaking below 400 would be a good start, and then new low of day after that. Possible we see another shoulder. We can get down to here, bounce, make another shoulder, and have chance for price to bounce off of this range at 350, low of day. 339 is ultimate low of day, dead ass low. So possible we do another wick process here. Looks like it's kind of wicking these areas. Lower wick, higher wick, highest wick. I want to see them break right through this. I've actually got my phone up in front of me watching NVIDIA. on TradingView. Got a few levels here, and it's kind of ranging between 126 and 125. So that's kind of why NQ is doing the same things here. NVIDIA's chart and NQ's chart look pretty identical today. Okay, so we're getting pretty close now to 440 again. This is where I would definitely want to add more if we wick and fail here. So we'll take a look at that opportunity. NVIDIA did pop, so it had a little pop there, almost back to the top of its range. So I'm just looking to see if we can't get a failure at that range. I moved my stop to 447. I'm going to move it above 450. It's at 451 now, 115 ticks, roughly $60. Yeah, we're going to do right at 60 here. We'll do $60 stop, 120 ticks. That's at 452.50. If we get back up to there, I imagine we blast through this previous high. So I'm looking for, yeah, there's a wick in confluence with the previous wick at the top here. Just going to be watching that and see if we revert back lower. Could have added up there, but I'm not certain yet that it's a good time to add. I want to see less curling and more failing. We have a pretty big order block at around 415, maybe just above 415 at 416 or 17 for about 196 so far at 415. So take a look at that and see if price doesn't go to it and fill it. Looking for NVIDIA to start dumping here pretty soon. All right, starting to see NVIDIA move lower as NQ does as well. We've got this 420 break, which is pretty much our entry, 422 spot 5. Looking for this to start to unravel a little bit. I'm still not going to add to this. I want to see a break of this in general range for the most part. But so far so good. We're just going to watch this play out. So we still have about 2 hours and 20 minutes in regular trading hours. This can really go any way, and NVIDIA can really just chop around right here between 125 and 126. Ultimately, nothing can happen here until after reporting. So we'll just hold this with one micro, minimal risk with exposure, and just see which way we go. The stop is going to stay in place at 120 ticks, and the profit side is still going to be down at the end of the measured move, the second leg, lower. Starting to see a couple liquidity blocks above. We've got one at 470, 51 block. So we'll see what happens there. Looking to see if we completely negate that. Looks like the order block at 420 or 417 was just filled. Saw a lot on the time and sales at 416, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 70. Yeah, so quite a bit was just filled there. About exactly what was on the order block. So whoever was, I think that was a stop loss because those were sells. A lot of them right at 416. So a stop loss just got hit. We might see this go up. That was a big stop loss. Okay, now we're really starting to see some momentum lower. We're hitting the low 400s here. I would like to see some capitulation on this move. Just going to hang tight here. Make sure this isn't just a failed move lower. Ideally, we retest lows. Alright, so Nvidia is definitely at the bottom side of its range since about the mid-morning. Watching this trickle lower, we're now about 60 to 70 ticks in the money. Just watching this micro do work. If we take a look at the hourly, the bottom right, you can see those two major wicks in the prior 2 hours. Those are the low of day and the first retest lower where we did rally a little higher, but we are now probably going to make a body candle lower and or another wick down to this area. So I would love to see a retest of this area and a break lower for the completion of the trade. However, if this wick is shorter than the prior wick, then I'm going to be watching that hourly and then moving over to the 5K tick to confirm whether or not to continue this trade. Alright, so there's a pretty strong move, and Nvidia is breaking lower. I want to see this continue. Like I said, I'm going to add to this if we break and make a new low of day. Not really in the market to scale in too heavily on potential bounce areas, especially when short in a bullish market. 390 was a pretty good area of interest last time. A lot of reactions there. I expect to see something similar this time. Or we flush right through it. Either way, I just want to see the market move when Nvidia moves, which it has been. Nvidia is definitely breaking its range and going lower. However, at 124.78, we could possibly see a bounce. Or it could break through that and go to 124.50 and then fake sellers out and come back up. Just going to keep watching. Alright, so Nvidia is now at the level of interest. I want to see if it breaks right through this or if we bounce. Pretty good bounce on Nvidia right off of that level. Just keep on watching. Could just be preemptive. If it closes a green candle bar, then that'll be a confirmed bounce. As we speak, it is retesting that level. Alright, so this is a solid move lower so far. We're getting really close to adding on this position. I'm going to retest these lows and see. Hourly candle wick is testing the prior wick. As you can see here, just watching that candle move lower, re-entering the range below where the imbalance is. It's a good look so far. A lot of follow through here. Looking for the measured move all the way down to the imbalance. So far, we're over 250 ticks captured. Put my stop to break even. And just let this one work. Alright, so Nvidia has made it to its second level at 124.50. Looking to see how this correlates with NQ testing low of day. If we come down to 123.88, which is the next level of interest, I think NQ will definitely make a new low of day. And then prior to that, Nvidia's low of day at 122.78. So if Nvidia really starts to go and flush itself again, alright, getting close, then Nvidia will definitely influence NQ and potentially go and hit our measured move lower. So there was a decent first green candle bounce on a 5K tick here. Watching this to see exactly how we should plan ahead. Potentially a good area to add. I just want to see if Nvidia continues. Added here. Added 2. Break even. Might be time to take some off already. Just want to see this bust lower. Get a nice wick. I'll take some off on the wick. New low of day seems pretty imminent at this point. Just gonna watch this. Take one off. Got some good profits on the day here. New low of day, break even. Coming in. There we go. There we go. Nice move, nice move. I'm gonna take this. Sell one. Alright, I'm going to take profit on that. Didn't mean to. I thought we still had 2 in. Don't want to re-enter here, potentially just get a gnarly bounce. We can watch this move play out, at the very least. That was my mistake, guys. I thought I had 2 lots still on, so I thought I could take more profit on at least half of the position. Ended up closing out, that's fine. It's been a great day so far. Nvidia really busting lower. It's at 124.21. So now that this hourly candle has gone lower than the previous 2 wicks, I see us making it almost all the way to the imbalance there. We've got a channel. If you look at where this arrow is, I believe we see that channel at least touch there, probably closer to here since we're doing it so soon. But the measured move is at 201. 201, we're already about to break 300 here. 100-point move still in play here. But you can't just have all green candles. You're going to have to see some retracement. At this point, I would like to see a retest at 345 at some point. We just hit the 233 extension to the downside at 303, so we should see some reaction here. Probably makes sense why we're seeing a green candle. However, it can flush right through that. Nothing is certain. A nice retest of the break of low of day would give me confirmation and confluence to see much lower. If we fail, if we reclaim and this ends up just being a longer wick on the hourly or even just the 15, which it looks like we are breaking into the 90s of the 200s, I would still like to see a retest up here. Next entry could be anywhere in this general area right here. I'm not going to chase this though, folks. Really just trying to see the measured move play out. So far it's been pretty great. If you take a look, early morning, broke down, had a bit of a lunch hour euro close, which was right here. First real pop, retest that breakout, break up, hit the midline of the imbalance, and we are now well into the next measured move. Like I said, a good retest of this area would be pretty sweet for a re-entry short, followed by a completion of the second leg of this measured move. So it looks like Nvidia actually bounced right off that lower level at 123.88. A lot of these levels are really playing out, and they're all based on previous day highs, lows, areas of interest. NQ kind of reacting to that bounce just a little bit on the sell, but we are already a new low of day. Nvidia is not. So NQ is leading, Nvidia is lagging. Okay, we are definitely getting closer to our break of low of day. Seeing some wicks on the 5K tick here. Might be a weakening by the longs and sellers just continuing to hammer. Just want to see how this plays out. I don't think we're just going to see a complete failure of that test at 340. So I'm just going to keep watching this, as always. Nvidia is starting to do the same thing NQ is doing, where you had that initial pullback to the level 123.88, busted right up to 124.78, kind of had 2 wicks up there, almost a pitchfork, not quite. Now kind of selling back down. I want to see a little more upside to the EMA specifically, then fail, so that I can see NQ do what we've been talking about, where it can test that break of low of day, even just the other level where we had the 372 breakdown level. It flushed right through both of those, and I would love to see some sort of failure up there where sellers really hammer down again and then take an entry there. If I can get that, we'll capture it here, and hopefully from there we see the final move where we get our full measured move for the day. After that, we're going to probably see power hour, and it'll just be consolidation until Nvidia reports. Because after that, we're pretty much going to see completely new levels on the chart. I imagine Nvidia makes everything move quite a bit. So, as I just said, and we'll continue to say, we'll just keep watching. So another thing we're going to take a look at here as a note for what it should be like if we do break lower. Take a look at this volume profile shelf, this little gap right here in between, and I'm going to move this on the hourly up and out so you don't make a mistake on what you're looking at. Look at the top side here. See this shelf where most of the morning action was? We sold into this gap where we're now sitting on a very weak level. If we break below 282 or 280, retest low of day again, there's almost nothing there leading us right to our target. So if we do get that and we flush lower, it's highly possible that we're going to see a move all the way to about 200, 175 even. It just depends. The last high volume candle actually created that shelf right there at 200. So that would be right where we want to see some movement towards that. We're currently testing that low of day break right now. So let's take a look and see how high they want to take this. Nvidia is definitely moving towards that EMA as we speak. So right to the EMA, this 21 EMA is right in line with the breakdown level. Break of low of day here, flushed right through it, coming back up to retest it now. Taking a look at what might happen in this area. Possible re-short entry. It would be just 1 micro for the time being. I want to see a little move up higher first. Nvidia almost touched that EMA exactly. We're starting to see liquidity levels show up below as well. We've got some orders at 275, which is just at low of day, 277. So liquidity right below that. Those should be some stops. We'll take a look. That's 44 at 275, and then 102 at 262.5, and then 77 again at 237.5. So a lot of orders down there. They may be stops. A lot of stop orders. We'll take a look at time and sales when we get there, if we get there. We've got a topping pattern on ES, as a matter of fact. Let's take a look at ES for just a second here. Very toppy there. We call that a Bart Simpson, where it's got that spiky top, followed by a very flat back of the head all the way down. ES yet to make a new low of day after that bounce, just like NQ, but ES made a sharper low of day than NQ. So this would be serious weakness in the market if it does flush more. A lot there to consider. Still has very narrowly broken the previous low from August 22nd. Another level right here to look at 5,603, and then yesterday's low of day, which it broke a long time ago, which had the same play, break above, short it, flush down. So from there, looking for a new low of day at 55.77. Move back over to MNQ now, where it looks like it is in fact failing that level. Gonna keep my eye on this for a second here and see if we can't get a little bit higher up to maybe 372.5. The higher the better for shorts, the lower the better for longs. Risk applied. So moving back over to the 15 minute for a second. Now that we have that green candle on the 15, I'm going to go ahead and draw that imbalance. There's our imbalance, above at least. We'll see how long it takes for us to revisit that. It's actually a 15-minute imbalance, it's not a 5. But if we take a look at the 5, we can see we've been wicking that the whole time. Just failing to revisit this. This is the break of low of day as well, so that's all in confluence. I want to test that, maybe get a wick above it, take a short entry, and then we'll get our move lower to the imbalance below. And actually, we can move this a little bit higher to the prior green candle. So our next retest imbalance would fall in line with the upper break right around here, just short of it at 372. Or 360, or 370. So 372, 370. That general area would be also a good test for a short, just like this area above was. So we'll take a look at that when the time comes. Nvidia making a touch of the EMA here. All we're looking for now is a sharp wick above all of these areas of confluence for an entry short. ES really showing some weakness, so I feel like maybe this is the move. Still want to see a little more confluence to the upside prior to what we could call the completion of the measured move. A little sharp wick above all of this would be a stop run. However, it might also influence a squeeze. So very sensitive area, and we're getting close to power hour. We're only about an hour 25 out from the close of regular trading hours and then Nvidia's reporting of earnings. Alright, so another revisit of this range. It's a topping pattern right below the break of the low of day. Kind of just revisiting that. Nvidia also still below its EMA, but at the top of the range. Just looking to see if we can get a little pop back up. There's potential that we also go and revisit that imbalance, which would be the breakdown level above here at 373 all the way up to 380, this range. So potential to see something happen up here as well. Both areas I will be watching. If we see basing above after we pop above it, then I'll be watching for this area. If we see a squeeze, then there will be no more shorts, and that'll be the end of it. It'll be a failure, the low side, failure of an auction below. Won't get our measured move, however, we will have seen plenty of good setups today. Alright, so that looks like a squeeze. We did get stopped out there. I'm going to take a look at this breakdown level and the imbalance, see if that is a spot where we can maybe reconsider this entry. However, we start getting above that, we might start to see a squeeze into power hour. Strong green candles here, definitely pushing us towards that imbalance. You can see that on both the 15 and the 5 minute here. We just touched the imbalance. Let's take a look at our 5K tick. Alright, so we're there now. Let's pay attention to this and make sure that we don't preemptively enter into a short that just gets blasted. Very good touch, very brief touch. So what I did here was I took the distance from the first initial bounce up to the first initial high, and you can basically just take an arrow tool, move that to the next bounce and the next high, and it's basically the same distance. So these are all tiny measured moves. We're getting that here right now, just above the imbalance up here. So it's possible we see something similar again, just keeping an open mind to all of this. Okay, so we're right at 380 now. Let's watch and make sure we don't just get a squeeze, invalidating any of these measured moves upwards. We'll take advantage of this short here. Tight stop. Very tight stop for this trade. Only risking $20 on this. I don't want to see any more upside action. I want to see that fail as a measured move, and then we break lower. This may be the last trade of the day, the last attempt of the day, if we don't get this. Other than that, breaking back below low of day would be a pretty brief move lower. It would 70 points, still a pretty good trade if you do make it, but at this rate, it looks like sellers are done, and they're probably going to get squeezed throughout power hour. Nvidia, something to note, massive pop. Take a look at that. So, all in confluence here. We just want to see if Nvidia pulls heavily. Looks like we might get stopped out, though. Yep, stopped out right, very close. Stopped out right here. Okay, so we're going to hang tight now. No more trades from me on this note. I'll be looking for potential squeezes. Seeing what we get throughout power hour, I will keep this going and see what we get, but that's essentially the strategy I've been trading for a little while now, and it's been working out. As you can see for the P&L today, we have recovered our losses from last Friday and some. Positive note on the day. It's okay to give up a little bit, but we got to stop here and just keep what we have and come back tomorrow. After Nvidia's earnings and the data that we have for the rest of the week, I'm sure there will be plenty of opportunities for us to keep this XFA alive and well. Hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Look at NVIDIA go. Now that we're hitting power hour, we're only like 30 seconds away from it. This is definitely corresponding to that. NVIDIA influencing the rest of the Mag 7, influencing NQ and ES. So take a look at the 5-minute candles now. Blasted right through these imbalances. That 15-minute candle, huge. So we're just going to sit back. I'm not really looking for longs just because of the massive trend. If we take a look at the 4-hour, you can see huge recovery back up to the teal colored line there. That's the all-time high anchored VWAP. Looks like the hourly candle as well, just coming right back up here to our prior high of range off the initial bounce of the low of day, previous low of day. So from here, anything goes. It's power hour, a lot of volatility about to happen. I'm just going to sit back and let it unfold. One other thing we can actually note here is from this megaphone that's been forming since Monday of this week, start of the week, we've had touches to each side where it's been spreading. We got our first sell of the day, first measured move, touched it, had a little bit of a bounce, tested that rebreakout zone, had our short lower, had an undershoot of that level for the first time where we are now squeezing up above. So if NVIDIA has a report where we just blast off, there's a chance that we go all the way back up to the 19700s where we just break right through this imbalance above up here. A lot can happen, but when you have undershoots of stronger structures like this, it's important to note that those usually imply strong moves in the opposite direction, reversals. Headed right towards VWAP at 490. If we break this prior high where we took our short, then we might just squeeze for the rest of power hour. I'm just going to be hanging tight here. You can see NVIDIA has broken above the previous level now at 126.12. It's now at 126.22. Sort of wicking there. Not in the picture I just showed you, but it is wicking as I watch it on my phone. We've got about 5 minutes on this 15-minute candle until we can possibly draw in another imbalance right here from red candle with the wick to this candle with a wick, both dojis with a large bullish candle in the middle. That'll definitely signal an imbalance to the upside, which it certainly was. Draw that in as it is here. It kind of looks like it's going to turn green on us, which means if this continues, this will get larger. We just need to see this be a red candle, close out red. NVIDIA failing to break above this 126.12 level. We're going to keep watching that. Should signal whether or not the market's going to continue to squeeze upwards or we're going to break back down. This is a range at this point from 470 down to low of day. Those imbalances are very powerful. As long as we continue to mark them as they're formed, we'll always be able to navigate and make trade plans throughout the day. This is also the first time on the 15-minute that we are breaking above the 20 EMA. Definitely something of a reversal pattern, some triggering going on here where the market has shifted. So if we were to look at this right now and let the rest of the day play out, in hindsight, there was our low of day, had a little bit of action, broke the lows, trapped sellers, and squeezed up. So this was a great bear trap. Definitely a good long there, trying to play out these measured moves. It's not a bad strategy, it's just sometimes you get that move instead. So sometimes we do that, we might get a little pop above here and have a trap of bulls, and then move all the way back down. So that would sort of signal another megaphone pattern, as a matter of fact. So we're just going to keep watching and see where the market decides to go into the close and NVIDIA's earnings. All right, so that 15-minute candle did close red, so this imbalance is going to stay in place as is. If you take a look at the 5-minute, clear green pattern in the middle there, that's going to be our imbalance to the low side here. Could fill that, break below it, or fill that and bounce higher. Something to watch. It's not always the end-all, be-all. Does look like we're about to move a little bit higher. NVIDIA definitely breaking above this level again. We are failing to break above this breakout zone. This would be considered a breakout zone at this point, where we have a test here, a failed test here with a lower high, and just continuing to bump our heads on this. If we hit another one where we actually break above this lower high from prior in the day at noon, then maybe there will be a move to VWAP at best. If we squeeze any higher, we'll pretty much recover the rest of this sell-off for the day, I imagine. We're only about 40 minutes from close at this point, 2:20 p.m., 2:21, and we have yet to break above this criticals area from yesterday. This was the morning low yesterday, and as soon as we broke below that, it's pretty much been just testing, failing, retesting here. Get a move to VWAP, trap buyers, break down. Not too much time left for that to really unfold, I imagine. So at this point, this is all just up for grabs, either side, whoever wants to do it. If I see another retest here, possible we could take a short. Like I said, kind of hands off. We've already made a good amount of gains today. The flush would be nice down to our measured move at 200. I'm just going to let this play out. Looks like we're breaking above this again. We've actually gotten higher this time, just barely. Just barely, maybe even the same level on that wick. You can take a look here. It's actually going to be high of 69.75 and a high of 69.25. So yeah, just 2 ticks higher. All right, so multiple tests here. We're definitely stopping ourselves, hitting our heads on the top of 470. That's the roof so far. 474 is a negative 89% fib. All right, 10 seconds to close. I'm going to go ahead and pull up NVIDIA here on my phone. Let you watch that next to InQ. So our measured move, it's over. Not happening. However, the real fun starts now. I wanted to add this into the video at the end here, since it is NVIDIA's reporting, and I'm just going to go ahead and leave this up. NVIDIA is definitely going to wick all over the place. They're expecting 10 to 12 points on either side, so 125 times that, it's roughly 37. So we should see some pretty big candles on here. I hope you enjoy this video. Maybe we will get our measured move through NVIDIA's reporting, or maybe we will blast to the top end of this range from the opening of the morning through the top of yesterday's range, where we should be able to clear out London high. Something tells me it's going to be somewhere in the middle of all that. So we'll just enjoy it all and just watch it happen. No sense in risking any more capital for today. We're already massively green. This is our second largest day on the account so far. Looking to keep all of that. Have a good evening. Come back tomorrow with a fresh mind, knowing I didn't throw it all away. Do want to point out that we are very close to the imbalance here. It's filling that in nicely. Waiting on NVIDIA to report now. But that imbalance is pretty much filled in almost. Pretty cool. Right after close, they just go down and dump it on us like that. All right, here's that break of low of day here. Big move lower. Look at NVIDIA just go lower and lower and lower. Busting right through 119, 118, 1715 now. We're testing low of day here. Top step stops us from trading after 3:10 p.m., so it's a good thing we cannot trade this whatsoever. Just make sure we can't trade this. Yeah, I didn't think so. Might get our measured move right here at the very end when we can't even trade it, but that's just fine. I just want to see this happen. There we go. Look at that. Boom, right to it. I'm sure we'll see a wick right at the imbalance here, or just at the top of the channel, this area right here at the very bottom of the channel, or the imbalance, either or. This is a successful measured move. Second leg here just took a little bit more time than we thought. Sometimes it takes even less time. I mean, we thought this sell would have pushed us right down to it. Bounced right back up. NVIDIA's reporting pushed us right to the bottom of the channel. That is a measured move to the T. So if you're trading on a prop firm where you can trade after 3 p.m. Central Time, after market close, that would have been a great short, considering the head and shoulders pattern right here failing to break above the breakdown zone. I definitely would have been short here. It was just after time, and that would have been a full move from 450 roughly, all the way down to 224. So 175 points. Very, very good trade, measured move. But all right, folks, I appreciate you for watching this. I wanted to show you exactly how I trade imbalances and measured moves on days where the market is directional. This is Bullish Bear, 23 Capital Trades. Peace out.